Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
And a sleepy Lee.
Oh, come on. Right. Monaco was over more than 24 hours ago. You should have had time to get a coffee down your neck at least by now.
I think it's left an even bigger fucking like permanent damage. Maybe I just got permanent brain damage.
It's like a shit Christmas, isn't it? Like all the build up and then nothing happens.
The anti-climax.
Yeah, the Mogadon Grand Prix.
Which leaves you feeling washed out and a little bit tired for days afterwards.
Yeah. No, I think that's fucking perfect, actually.
Yeah, like a particularly uninspiring festival that you regret buying tickets for, but your mates talked you into going.
I don't know any of these bands. Why am I here? Anyway.
I mean, we knew, and we said as much last week. If you want wheel-to-wheel racing and constant action from lights to flag, then go watch something else that weekend.
I think qualifying lulled us into a false sense of security, though, didn't it? In that we thought, there's a Ferrari at the front of the field, Mercedes are nowhere, this is going to be an interesting race, and it didn't happen, probably because of Ferrari.
Well, because qualifying was so interesting. Before we talk about the race, what do you think about Charles Leclerc? I think he crashed on purpose.
I thought about.
Chris has vanished.
And I don't think he did it. If it was on purpose, he chose one of the worst spots on the circuit to do it, because that was always going to cause a lot of damage because it's one of the fastest bits of the track.
The thing is, every year you get somebody hitting that corner of the Armco in the swimming pool. Every year, at least one person does it. Mm-hmm. And most years you get somebody crashing there terminally. I mean, Lance Stroll did it during the race and survived, and apparently that was more interesting than Vettel doing the only on-track overtake of the whole day, according to the TV producer, which we will get to later.
But there's that, and then there's doing it on the last lap of qualifying when you're already down on your personal best, and you know Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas are going quicker than you, and you're in a Ferrari, which probably won't have another chance to win a race all year.
No, I think if he'd have been going for a cause a yellow flag scene, he'd have done it somewhere else, because it is not the way to do it there. And if he did, he oversold it a bit.
That's it. I think he just did it too well. I've got a theory on why he did it too well. I think it'd be really difficult to crash a Formula One car on purpose, because you've got that thing inside your head of not wanting to cause yourself damage. Whereas if on that particular part of the circuit, just brush a little bit too close, bang it, knock your suspension a little bit, and you've done it. You only have to crawl to a halt. But I think he's just, like you say, I think he's oversold it.
It's far easier to spin it.
I think there's loads of places where you could wreck a front wing and shit carbon fibre everywhere and cause everyone else a hoo-ha.
Or
but then you look like Rosberg, and it's obvious what you've done.
Spin and stall at the Rascas?
Yeah, but Rosberg didn't wreck his car.
No, but everybody knew what he'd done. I like I say, it was that thing. It was the onboard radio from Carlos Sainz when they radioed in to tell him that there was a yellow flag, and he just messaged back saying, "So I'm sorry, guys, this is really unfair." And it was a really strange reply, like there'd been discussions of something, and it's fucking Ferrari.
No, if it was, they wouldn't have discussed it with Sainz.
Yeah, I wondered with that if it was Sainz wanted to get out first, perhaps.
Maybe.
I mean, don't forget there's a delay on the radio, so if you heard Sainz radio after the crash, it doesn't actually mean it happened after the crash.
No, it wasn't after the crash that day. They replayed it on F1 TV the next day.
Look, no, I don't think it was deliberate. I just think it was crap.
No, I think it was Ferrari doing a Ferrari thing.
Thing is, they were fast enough anyway, because they could have had two cars up there. But because
but you say they were fast enough, but when everything was getting turned up, I think Charles Leclerc would have been third, because I think Bottas and Verstappen were going to go quicker.
And Sainz was going quicker as well than he had already gone. That's why I think he thought it was unfair, because he was on a really fast lap and he had to back out because of the red flags.
I don't think he was quicker than Max or Bottas, though.
Wasn't he purple in the...
He was quicker than Leclerc, definitely.
Yeah, he was quicker than Leclerc. I don't think he was quicker than Max or Bottas. Max was fucking flying.
I mean, don't forget, Sainz wouldn't have known anything about it because anytime there's any form of shenanigans, the Spanish driver knows nothing.
Yeah, well, this is obvious, yeah. But, that's my tuppence worth anyway.
Yep, and that's what you're talking through.
Nasty cheat he is. The dirtiest driver Formula One has ever seen.
So, Haas then, Mazepin.
Do you know what? Very quiet weekend for
Actually,
Mazepin.
Haas, Schumacher, I think you'll find.
Was that deliberate?
Apparently it cost $500,000 to repair. That's a lot of damage for one crash.
Yeah, do not fuck slam the wall.
No.
I don't care who your favourite drivers are. Haas's
That's a way to drop
Haas's
out.
junior drivers aren't the junior drivers you're looking for, are they?
You glitched then briefly, but I think
No, I heard that.
It got there in the end. You just did the drop out and then come back faster.
Yeah.
The anti-Alonso. No, I mean, Haas just... We're in Monaco this weekend. Schumacher was in a wall.
a couple of times. I
Yeah.
think he had one in practice as well. Yeah, Mazepin, though, very, very quiet. Probably a lot of people were expecting a bit of drama from him, but he seemed to be pointing the right way most of the times.
To be fair, there was nowhere to spin to, was there? So, I mean,
No,
he might have just
no.
been literally rubbing the Armco the whole time.
PlayStation 1 pole position on the old Formula 1 game.
Yeah.
Like it.
Smack the Armco all the time, you'd be fine.
Maybe because he's had a torrid start to the season, they put him on easy mode and turned damage off for him this weekend.
Possible.
He is reasonably comfortable with rubbing up against things.
We're trying to work this out earlier. I don't know if you've seen it. Chris, you said you hadn't, but Liam, have you seen any of the F2 so far this season?
No, I haven't.
Right, because they have a new slowest driver ever. We're talking sort of 5 or 6 seconds at least per lap off the pace. Alessio
Making Ranganathan look like Hamilton.
Oh,
Does
God.
make him look racy.
Yeah, Alessio Deleda. We're trying to work out if Haas are the Alessio Deleda of F1 or Alessio Deleda is the Haas of F2.
I mean, Alessio Deleda looked shit in F3 and somehow has got a promotion. I'm assuming money.
That can be the only explanation.
The fact that he sounds like a fake Formula One driver from a film that does really well might have something to do with it.
And speaking about things that look like fake Formula One, I realised that the McLaren looks more like a Project Cars Formula One car with the Gulf livery on than the Williams looks like a Project Cars Formula One car.
Formula A, please remember, copyright here.
Yes.
Oh, true.
So, yeah, Haas done, finished. Next in the lineup of anonymity is Williams. They lapped both Haas's.
Yeah, they did.
That's crackers.
I wonder if they've done much lapping before.
I don't
wouldn't have
know.
thought so.
But, you know, it was, again, Mr. Saturday, George Russell getting the car into Q2, and then, you know, it wasn't particularly, you know, it wasn't like pushing for Q3, was he, this time round? But then it was, you know, a post pit stops where they came out after the pit stops, much like the rest of the group. We're going to repeat ourselves a lot here. That's kind of where they finished.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because there weren't any overtakes. On track, anyway.
No, I don't think there was a single on-track overtake after the pit stops.
I mean, wasn't the Vettel on Gasly technically an overtake?
They were
he
level,
side
weren't they?
by
As
side?
Vettel came out of the pits, he was pretty much level with Gasly and just...
I mean, I've only seen it on Twitter because the TV director...
Apparently, Alonso overtook someone on lap 1 because he got
Alonso
somebody
got
off.
3
They were-
places on lap 1.
Yeah, there were
Yeah,
lap
so-
1 overtakes.
Yeah, but I think he did it like he did 1 or 2 off the start and then 1 later on during the lap. But
After lap 1, there was bugger all else. I mean, Schumacher overtook Mazepin at the hairpin, which I thought was
And then Mazepin got him back at some point.
a brave move. And then Mazepin, yeah, because Schumacher had the power problem later on and lost 9 seconds in the space of a lap.
Power problem is that he drives a Haas.
Ooh,
Oh, Chris,
where have you
your
gone?
cable's fallen out. You sound like you're in the bathroom again.
No, not again.
Unless you are in the bathroom.
No, I'm not in the bathroom. The cable seems to be fine.
Ooh.
Unplug and plug it back in.
Yeah, I'll try that.
So while Chris is doing that, but yeah, Williams again. Just that's the problem. That's the problem with back markers at Monaco. They just end up completely anonymous. And has Chris returned?
Well, yeah, I was back before, but
Yay.
I'm still here.
Properly back. Yeah, and it's so hard to do anything about it, and you just got to hope that somebody in front of you crashes.
That's all you can hope for. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't see a safety car, but is it that nobody was pushing hard enough, do you think, during this race? Because the top 9, I know we're nowhere near the top 9 yet, but the top 9 were all doing the same lap time. That is, to me, that just means, just going to manage this pace, and because I know that no one can get anywhere near me. That's not a race.
I think that's it, isn't it? I don't think it's that people weren't pushing. It was that they couldn't push. They were pushing as hard as they could, and it was all fairly level.
Yeah, there's nothing to push for. I mean, you can get up as close as you can behind somebody, and then what do you do after that?
Yeah, exactly. Lose a front wing. That's what I mean. It's just, yeah.
It's the usual Monaco gripes, unfortunately. I mean, there was people going on Twitter all the way through it, and I ended up just sort of stopping looking at Twitter by about sort of lap 10 or 12. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. This is the worst race ever. It's like, oh, shut up. You know exactly what you're getting. It's
Wait
Monaco.
until we get to France.
Yeah. France is a circuit where you think that you're going to be able to overtake. That's the killer with that. At Monaco, you kind of know what's happening, but yeah, France was just something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, nobody's quite sure what. Right, Alfa Romeo next. Points for Giovinazzi, which leaves Kimi, who was 11th. Well, point for Giovinazzi, which leaves Kimi as the only non-Hasso Williams driver yet to score. We've got to be looking at Kimi's last season now, surely.
How long have we been saying this?
Yeah, but now this season, after last season, Giovinazzi is now putting Kimi away.
I think that what we need to rethink is Giovinazzi putting Kimi away because Kimi's doing a bad job, or is Giovinazzi just like genuinely, has it started to come to him?
I think it started to come to him slowly. It's taken too long. It's taken too long, really, for somebody who had so many high hopes as a Ferrari junior. I don't ever see him getting in a Ferrari, if I'm honest. But I mean, yeah, I think it's come to him. It's just taken a very long time to come to him.
Yeah, I just again, I don't recall either Alfa doing anything particularly noteworthy.
Didn't Kimi let Giovinazzi past at one point?
I do not recall that.
Don't know. Let's
be honest.
Also, worth pointing out as well, Kimi Räikkönen did stall on the formation lap.
Did he?
Oh my god!
How does Kimi not know how to do a start by now?
They on the formation lap when they all stopped at Raskas, Kimi stalled and had to restart it using the battery.
Let's have a look. Räikkönen and Giovinazzi. Let's have a look. They pitted Giovinazzi first. Kimi passed him while he was in the pits, and then Kimi pitted, and Giovinazzi passed him.
So it was a pit pass.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know, if you're a straight line enthusiast, go to f1.com and look at the lap chart, because all you will see is straight lines.
Is it almost like a spreadsheet? Because I know you're a fan of spreadsheets.
I love.
There's not much spread on this, is there?
Not really. It's more a sheet. I mean, it's got the same pattern as sheets I used to have as a kid.
Like Monaco.
Monaco was a big sheet.
Yeah, it's just lots and lots of straight lines with not a great deal in between. I was going to say Tsunoda lost places at the end, but that was because he pitted last. And that's it. It's just Yeah, you can see when the pit stops were between lap 29 and the majority of pit stops had finished by lap 37. Couple more in the early 40s. Sonoda late on, and then just nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Alfa Romeo.
Back to the days of anonymous Sauber forum.
Now, but I mean, scoring points, so...
Yeah, I think we'll see better things from this year at circuits where you can, I don't know, drive rather than follow. Alpine, Ocon in 9th and Alonso in 13th. Alonso did not get to grips with this weekend at all.
I mean, he made a good start to the race. And then, like
but
everyone
it was Saturday
else...
again, wasn't it? It was like Saturday that cocked it.
Your cable's gone again.
No, it was Saturday that cocked it for him totally, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chris, your cable's gone again, I think.
No, it's fine. It's in place.
No, you sound like you're in the bathroom.
I've just worked out what's wrong with Flood's microphone. It's not the cable. For some reason, his laptop's switching between his microphone and the internal speaker on the microphone.
Ah, that would do it.
Yeah, it does sound like shitty laptop mic.
Probably is, but...
Right, check your laptop settings and go back to your plug-in mic.
And still, this is more interesting than the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, it is.
You're back again.
It's whereby it's not my laptop. It keeps going. It keeps thinking that the laptop mic is the default microphone.
That is, it could be because you've got a dodgy cable and it keeps losing signal.
Cable's fine. It's just the socket that I keep having to check occasionally.
Every computer's got a dodgy USB.
Baseball.
Anyway, back to Alpine. Yeah, Alonso didn't get to grips with things on Saturday. Bad qualifying, and once you get a bad qualifying in Monaco, you're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
He made up a few places at the start. What was it? 3 people he got past on the first lap?
He did gain
Well,
3
he made
places.
up 3 places, but everyone made up 1 place because Charles Leclerc didn't start.
This is true.
That is true. So he made up 2 places, technically.
Yeah.
And... yeah, again, we didn't see him, but we didn't hear him complain, which I assume is a good thing.
Just accepted it, I think. Did he on Saturday that?
Yeah, I think
It was going to get.
You can't do anything but accept it if you have a crap Saturday. Ocon though is still looking the stronger of the two.
Yep.
And apparently there's discussions over a new contract.
There is. This has been reported in the last couple of days. He's after a multi-year new deal with Alpine. They have begun talks, apparently.
I think if they can't get hold of Gasly, he's looking like a good choice, isn't he, to keep that seat?
Yeah, he seems solid enough. They've got lots of drivers in sort of F2 and F3 at the moment who, in a year or two, if Alonso doesn't stick around more than a couple of years, will be ready to go. So by that
Is
point,
Lundgaard an Alpine driver?
Lundgaard is, Guan Yu Zhou is, Oscar Piastri is. That I think might be the one they're waiting for.
Piastri. Okay.
Piastri.
'Cause he seems pretty good.
Colette, who's in F3, is one of their lot. I think they've got quite a few in F3. Victor Martin in F3 is one of theirs. I think there's a couple more kicking around as well.
And was it Euroformula Open? Basically, they put about 50% of the grid in there
most
because
of them, I think.
They supply the engines. So. I think that's just like their proving ground.
Yeah,
or
they have lots of children.
Breeding petri dish or something. Yeah, I can probably say Ocon staying on. I know I was saying, Ocon's only keeping that seat warm for Gasly because, they want a French driver and it's going to be him. But he's proving his worth.
Yeah, I don't know what do you think Gasly does? I mean, obviously apart from stay at Toro Rosso if he's got the option, but I don't know where there is for him to go.
Yeah,
he's ended up kind of in that limbo because Horner's more or less said he's never driving a Red Bull again.
Yeah, Williams maybe if George moves, he'd be a good option for Williams.
I suppose it's whether he'd want to go to Williams.
It would have to be a
dead end, isn't he?
Yeah, it would have to be a much better Williams than it is now. And if it's a much better Williams than it is now, with the team having more money than they've got over the previous few years, could they get a Perez maybe if Red Bull decide not to keep him on?
I'd take Gasly over Perez.
Or the return of Hulk.
I'd take
Christ.
Gasly over Hulk.
I mean, Hulk's been saying he's got options for next year.
Yeah, so did Grosjean. Yeah, like Gasly's so young. Like he's much younger, so he'd be a better option to take than one of those guys.
I think we're more or less all of the opinion that George Russell is not going to be driving that Williams next year.
Well, I didn't realise this. His contract's up, didn't he? Did we speak about this last week? So, he has to go somewhere. He can't stay in that car.
His contract with Williams is up at the end of the year, but I think he's still contracted to Mercedes.
That sounds familiar.
But I wonder whether there's one of those like get out clauses on it, because he can't be contracted to Mercedes for like his life from where he is. So I wonder if there's a situation, like Van Dorn had, where his contract ran out, and it was a case of, look, if they didn't put him in the car when they did, they lost him altogether.
I mean, if that is the case with Mercedes, they'll probably put him in the car anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't. It would be wrong, it would be morally wrong, just to shelve a driver, wouldn't it? Until that option that we might need him.
Yeah. I mean, who do they think they are? Red Bull.
Yeah. No.
And I mean the organisation rather than the team.
Let's give Red Bull some props. They always get those people in Formula One. They might destroy them and make them never want to race racing cars again, but they allow them to race.
Yeah, I mean, five of the top 6 this weekend have been in the Red Bull program.
True. And how many ex-Red Bull drivers were racing in other series this week?
Yeah.
Possibly all of them.
They've been through so many fucking drivers that part of the fucking meat for catering was part of the Red Bull Young Driver program.
Whatever happened to Jaime Alguersuari?
Funny that.
Yes.
Yeah. He's now some sort of booner.
Are you going to tell us what happened to Jaime Alguersuari, Chris?
Well, apparently he's making a return to racing, and he's also launching some sort of weekly stream show where he talks about his music and his racing. I learned this through a round-robin tweet that came through to my DMs.
So Jaime Alguersuari slid into your DMs, is what you're saying?
Yes, he did, and he called me enemigo and everyone else.
I mean, we were used to seeing him slide into Armco.
No, to be fair, Alguersuari was okay. I think he was just he was overtaken by the likes of Jean-Eric Verne, and that was he coming through.
Mm.
Yeah, but
I still think Jean-Eric Verne and
Daniel Ricciardo as well. Don't forget, he came through behind Alguersuari.
Yeah, but like, as a team of Toro Rosso, I think Jean-Eric Verne and Jaime Alguersuari were like two of the strongest Red Bull Junior drivers to come through that just got fucking ruined and rinsed through.
Yeah. I think Alguersuari joined, if I remember rightly, kind of mid-season.
I think
after somebody else got kicked out.
Was it Bourdais? I think he may have replaced Bourdais mid-season.
Yeah, when it turned out that Bourdais was actually shit. I could be looking this up, couldn't I?
I'm sure Buemi replaced Vettel, and then it was Buemi and Bourdais for a little while. All the Sebastians, and then I think Alguersuari.
I didn't know there was a Jaime Alguersuari senior who raced in MotoGP twice in the 70s.
Did he now? Well, there we go.
I'm almost convinced none of this actually matters.
Yeah, but it is still more interesting than the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yes, Alguersuari came in midway through the 2009 season.
For Bourdais?
I knew you were going to ask something like that. Yes. Yes, they chose Alguersuari over Brendan Hartley because it looks like Alguersuari had more experience at the time.
But not in endurance racing.
No, Hartley's experienced in everything.
Yeah, including hair.
I seem to remember Alguersuari had good hair.
I mean, as we all know, the Brendan Hartley experience is my new prog rock band. I've completely lost where we were.
We're talking about AlphaTauri.
Oh, yes.
And their meat grinder.
Yes, even though we hadn't got to them yet because we're still on Alpine.
No, we won't. We finished then.
Your mic's gone again.
Stupid website.
It's not the website. It now appears to be your laptop.
No, it's just the website.
It's the way the website talks to the laptop, I think.
It could be a browser.
It's whatever it is. It keeps switching it back to default.
Right, bring it round here and I'll take a look at it one night.
Jaime Alguersuari has sent him a virus.
It could be. Right, next up.
So just like the idea that all of a sudden the Flood's laptops go wrong because Jaime Alguersuari is mining Dogecoin off it.
Maybe that's what's happening. That seems totally legit.
That's his new project.
Yeah, you know that stream? Don't click the link. So, after Alpine comes Mercedes.
This is very early in the day to be talking about Mercedes.
But that's what happened. The first team to get a DNF. Because the other non-one was a DNS.
Because they're the only team to get a DNF.
Yeah. Quickly talking about Lewis, he was kicking off about the car from Saturday after qualifying, saying that the team had given him the wrong car. That was his exact quote.
What would he have preferred? The one that got the tyre stuck on?
Well, apparently at the time he would have done because the tyre hadn't got stuck when it was Bottas's car and it qualified second.
Did you ever say something out loud and wish you'd typed it or recorded yourself saying it at the time?
Yes.
Yes.
Every 30 seconds, almost 25% of the things I say.
Because as they cleared the grid on Sunday and they were getting ready to, it was obviously Bottas was starting from P2, right, with Verstappen on essentially.
He's gone again.
Wait for it.
Pole. I said to Izzy, there's something wrong with Bottas's front right wheel. It doesn't look like it's on properly. And then when he went off on when he took off on the formation lap, I went, oh no, must just been the angle of the camera.
So you perhaps saw something that all of the Mercedes mechanics missed.
It just looked like it was at a weird angle. I went, hang on, his wheel doesn't look like it's on properly. And then as he went off on the formation lap, I thought, oh, well, no, if it wasn't on properly, it would have come off by now. So I didn't bother saying anything to anyone on like our chat thread or anything. And then that happened in the pit stop. And I said I turned around and said, do you remember I said that wheel wasn't on properly?
I mean, it was on a bit too properly.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, as at the time of recording, Monday night, it's still on the car now.
It will be on the car until they ship it back to Brackley. They may have to break the actual spindle that the wheel sits on in order to free it off.
Yeah, they're talking about taking a very large Dremel to it.
Which basically means a front-end rebuild purely because a wheel nut sheared.
Jesus.
I think I think it was quite lucky for him that happened because it's deflected what I think was going to happen in that race because the pace he had, I think he'd have been undercut by Sainz and Norris anyway.
Very possibly. But fourth is better than DNF.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. And I'm tying everything together here.
Oh.
He didn't have the pace because the wheel wasn't on properly.
Or he's shit.
I don't think his fronts were that bad. It was his rears that were fucked, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, he was doing, to be fair, he was doing better than his teammate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the comments of Lewis Hamilton in the pen afterwards were fucking ridiculous.
Didn't see that because it was the last day of the Premier League season, so we had to watch old men watching football because it's a tradition.
And I quote, the team did a terrible job today.
No, you can't say that. That's awful.
No. Yeah, but the thing is, because he was when he was radio in, being all upset about where he was stuck in the race, that was nothing to do with the team. You qualified badly, Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
and
done by your teammate and done by all these other cars. You're done by Gasly.
Yeah, I mean, Vettel made a strategy work and gained many places. By, 3, but by Monaco standards, that's many.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It wasn't just Hamilton's radio on Sunday. It was his quotes on Saturday saying he was given the wrong car and the team got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that was that was his theme of the weekend, and it's just for somebody who goes on about, what we all win together. Every win for me is a win for you guys.
Yeah, we all win together, but when we lose, you're a bunch of pricks.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically what I was going to say. That seems to be, it's not my fault. And we're probably going to take a load of flack for this, but no, bollocks, he acted like a prima donna.
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
He gave up
yeah.
as well. I think when he radioed in asking where Bottas was, and it turned out Bottas was like out, and there was no sort of tactical way they could use anyone to like push people back towards him. He just checked out of that race, and it's now. If you're Lewis Hamilton, the Mercedes is going to be okay. You're probably gonna you're going to be in a better position come the next race. So I can kind of accept it, but it's the slamming of his own team I don't really get.
Yeah, it's not a great look, is it? It's not your day. Get on with it. Move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You give me a shit car. It's all your fault. I'm better than all of you. Can I have a new contract?
Yeah.
It's such a Bottas quantity of luck as well that he genuinely found a way to make the car work and was the quicker of the two of them all weekend, and it gets done by the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah, Bottas luck has now overtaken Webber luck, hasn't it?
I think so.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not quite at the levels of Johnny Herbert luck, but it's not far off.
I think they have the same number of career wins. I think they both have 9 wins.
Oh God.
Who, Bottas and Webber?
I'm sure they both have 9.
Oh no.
Equally talented.
to be fair to Webber, at least at one point in his Red Bull tenure, it looked like he had the opportunity to win a world championship. We've never ever accused Bottas of being in the position to win a world championship.
Very true.
No, that is.
I think maybe once when he had his first bout of porridge. Maybe.
Oh yeah,
briefly.
At the beginning of the season.
Yes.
Which Hamilton tends not to do too well in until this season, and now he's fallen off.
Yes, Mark Webber and Valtteri Bottas, both the only 2 drivers to have 9 wins in their career.
I didn't see that one coming. Right, we'll go back to AlphaTauri now. Gasly in 6th and Tsunoda in 16th. We've had a suggestion from long-time sort of listener, friend of the podcast, general all-round get-in-touch guy, Stephen Faber. Is it going to be Yuki or is it going to be Yuki for him?
Oh,
and I think
interesting.
this week was Yuki again.
I agree with what Lee said earlier.
I would like to voice my opinion that we never use that term for his weekend ever again. That is not a pasta disaster or a Mazep spin. I'm not having it.
Did Tsunoda peak on his first qualifying session?
Yeah,
Beginner's
absolutely.
luck.
Magnussen it, didn't he? Magnussen it.
And don't forget, he will have literally never driven in Monaco before. Just not in any junior formula.
No, he hasn't. No. But then again, I don't think did Mazepin or somebody else hasn't driven in Monaco
Mazepin might
before
not
as well.
have, in fairness. I think Schumacher would have done at some point, and Latifi would have done definitely when he was in F2 because he was there for about a decade.
Yeah, but Formula 2 sometimes didn't do Monaco. And I got a feeling when Mazepin was an F2 driver, they didn't do Monaco.
He may have missed it, yeah.
Yeah, well, it would have been last year, wouldn't it? When Mazepin was in F2. So
yes, because the last race winner before this weekend in Monaco in F2 was Antoine Hubert, so it would have been that year that they were last year. So yeah, Schumacher would have done because he was also in that year, but
yeah.
So
Mazepin
no,
I don't think Mazepin did it. Proving that he's the future Formula 1.
Well, I mean, Tsunoda finished ahead of Mazepin. Just.
Yeah.
Better car though, innit?
What do you mean just? He was a lap ahead.
in that situation.
But look where his teammate was.
Compared to your teammate.
Yeah, there is that, yeah. We'll talk about lapping teammates shortly, I think. But
in about 2 teams' time.
It was an odd Monaco Grand Prix, wasn't it? Because it only came in 2 flavours for you. You either had a really good weekend or like the worst weekend of your life so far.
I don't know. I reckon Stroll had a really just par weekend, and that was probably about it.
He didn't crash in Monaco.
He had a
I think
light
he had an
brushing. Exceptional weekend.
Yeah, a slight nudge of the Armco, which was more interesting than a Vettel overtake.
Yeah, that's who brings the money, innit?
Yeah, that's true. But Gasly, he is that team at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we always thought
yeah,
it was going to be
fair.
a fairly comfortable Gasly, certainly for the first half of the season, but...
When do AlphaTauri start thinking, that Albon kid that's in European GTs, he's not bad, and he's got Red Bull backing.
He was there this weekend.
He's the reserve driver, isn't he?
I think so, and he lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. Not in Honda's last year. They don't replace
No.
Tsunoda this year.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
It'd be a massive Red Bull organisation thing to do, though. It's like once all the contracts are signed and all the Honda staff are being employed by Red Bull GmbH, sack off the driver that Honda have sent them and replace them with their own guy.
Yeah. Who knows? I was going to say something about Albon, then I still wonder whether they did the right thing with Perez. With Perez struggling, would Albon have done better with having a year under his belt of struggling with the same problems?
It's hard to tell because it's the second Red Bull and there's just no... Since Verstappen's been driving the first Red Bull, there's been no telling what the hell goes on in that second car.
No. The only person that didn't do dreadfully in it, Verstappen's being Red Bull, was Daniel Ricciardo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing was when Red Bull was Ricciardo and Verstappen, the car wasn't more towards Max's style.
Yeah, Ricciardo was the
probably.
longer-serving one of the two at that point, wasn't he?
Probably.
But Ricciardo could see that they were going to start to build the team around Max Verstappen, so that's why he upped and left.
Yeah, right embarrassingly at the start of a massive 3-month-long advertising campaign. Don't know if anyone remembers that. Danny Ricciardo's World Tour for Red Bull. Going to drop a new video every week, and they got as far as the first one, which unfortunately was him driving to France.
Yeah, I remember this, and I thought it was going to be a sort of slow burn to them announcing his new contract, and then very quickly it was like, oh no, that's really not what they're doing here.
Yeah, well, they never released another video after the first one because they put the first one out and then he left.
That's fairly hilarious.
They have shown the videos that they've recorded, but you don't ever see the driver or the helmet of the driver. So,
Adobe Premiere is a wonderful thing for censorship. But all in all, a good race for Gasly.
Very good, a good weekend. Like Lee was saying, he was one of those drivers that had an awesome weekend. If you'd offered Gasly a finish ahead of Lewis Hamilton at 6th place, he'd have fucking snapped your arm off.
Yeah, damn right.
Isn't it funny though that AlphaTauri, or like the same as what Toro Rosso have done in the past, have done to us what they do every year, where they Jedi mind tricked us to the point where at the beginning of the season we were even wondering whether they were going to be the second best car on the grid.
Well, they might be.
No, they're exactly where. Well, at least in Gasly's hands, they're exactly where you expect AlphaTauri / Toro Rosso to be.
What, ahead of a Mercedes?
Well, okay, not ahead of the Mercedes, but upper midfield points on their day. And to be fair, Bottas, I would expect them to be ahead of a Mercedes. It's just an odd one to be in front of. That's all.
The thing is though, that's their main thing. Cause surprises. They're predictably unpredictable. And they have got somebody in the car who can definitely get the most out of it. Although, like we said earlier, what this is going to do to the rest of his career, God knows.
Yeah, who cares?
He's becoming the next Perez, isn't he? Where he gets the opportunity in the big team.
I hope he gets somewhere decent.
Yeah, gets the opportunity in the big team. It doesn't work out, and then he's going to spend probably most of the rest of his career scrapping for points.
I love that. He's becoming the next Perez and getting ready for the dizzying heights of becoming a Jean Lace.
Well, he's already got his.
Head and Shoulders advert next.
He's already got.
Hi,
I'm
Pierre Gasly.
He's already got his win.
So's Perez.
Right. Do we call them the resurgent Aston Martin, or is it the resurgent Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin?
Resurgent Vettel,
definitely.
I think.
I think we got signs of happy Vettel this weekend.
Yeah.
Relieved Vettel, I think it was, more than anything.
I just hope he can use this now for confidence. You know, in the face of great adversity, I've constantly been saying on this podcast that you don't win 4 world championships and then forget how to drive. And I'm desperately praying now that Vettel proves me right.
Well, I mean, he certainly remembered how to sulk for the last year and a half.
Yeah, he was good at sulking.
But, didn't seem to be any complaints about the car. I mean, obviously it's a circuit that he knows well.
Yeah.
And, maybe...
Yeah, but to be fair, he knew all the others as well. He's known all the others for a couple of years now.
Maybe he's remembered how to drive. You may be able to win 4 world championships and temporarily forget how to drive. He might have been on tablets.
Maybe he's electrocuted in testing.
No, because that's never happened to anyone in the history of Formula One ever.
I keep forgetting that.
Lee, get out of that.
Not at turn 3 in Spain during pre-season testing.
Yeah, Lee, get out of that go-kart and stop speaking Spanish.
You're not 14.
Shocking behaviour. Stroll in 8th as well. Is that where we expect to see Stroll?
It's about right, isn't it?
Again, another one we didn't hear complain all weekend. Because Stroll tends to be a big complainer.
He brakes and tyres in Monaco. I think he's generally been very complaining about previously, but yeah, seems to have been all right.
He's excited because Baku is next, and he knows he's going to be good there.
Yes, this is his race.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 circuits, Baku and Monza.
Give me straight lines.
Like I say, go on to f1.com and look at live timing. You'll see plenty of them. It actually looks like...
Oh, crap. You know what? I've just worked out something. If he ever does the...
Oh, are we ever going to find out?
The Indy 500, everyone else doesn't stand a chance, do they?
No. How do you like your corners, mate? Long and straight.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's very hard to judge the sort of how the rest of the season is going to go from Monaco results and Monaco performance, because it's that much of an outlier. We've now got a vaguely good idea of what may happen in Hungary if nobody does any development between now and the start of the summer break.
This is the thing, like, I'm reading articles and I'm seeing headlines like, oh, this is the pivot and this is the fight that the title that F1 needs, and it's the pendulum swings back to, swings away from Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, it does, because Lewis Hamilton had a really poor race and Max Verstappen had a really good one. And it does mean that the title fight is closer, because only 2 weeks ago, after the last race, we were saying how Lewis Hamilton appeared to be turning the screw and this was getting away from Verstappen. Well, yes, now in those kind of terms, the pendulum has swung. But don't for a second think that every race from here on out is going to be Mercedes finishing 7th and Verstappen winning every single race. It's Monaco. Everybody knows my opinions on Monaco. I don't need to repeat myself for the 5th year in a row.
6th.
I'll also point out as
row.
well that come Baku, there's a
good
chance again that Perez is going to drop back a little bit again, and Max Verstappen is going to be fighting 2 Mercedes again.
Perez quite likes Baku, I think, doesn't he? He generally does quite well there.
Yeah. Well, it's widely accepted that Red Bull are probably more likely to do better in Baku than Mercedes, perhaps. But I mean, we've seen
old straight though.
Yeah, but we've seen that before, haven't we? Like oh well, this is definitely going to suit Red Bull more, and then somehow a Mercedes wins or something goes wrong.
Or Vettel drives into the back of Hamilton and Red Bull wins from 10th.
Monaco is just one of those. Monaco is just one of those, and I use this term loosely, races where it's just
a traffic jam.
Since I would say mid-90s, maybe mid-90s, late 90s, possibly. It's not really been a race. It's been a procession now for like 20-something years. Yeah. Get rid.
I'm just going to pull you up on the not wanting to repeat myself for 5 years on the trot when it's been 6 years and there wasn't one last year. So you don't want to repeat yourself for the 5th year in 6 non-consecutive years.
Correct, yeah. I'm going all Nico Rosberg on you here.
Who was wearing navy at one point this weekend. Not beige, not grey, navy.
Did anyone else notice when he was making sense, the Sky turned his microphone off?
Outrageous.
Maybe the microphone just gave up because it couldn't handle it.
Yeah, he was talking sense about like who was doing what on the Saturday, and they turned his microphone off.
I've yet to see the video of him crashing his bike.
Is that this weekend? Did he crash?
I did not know this.
Apparently he had some kind of bike crash, but he was only doing about 2 miles an hour. So
is this a bicycle?
No,
or a moped-y type
some
thing?
kind of electric bike. It could have been a e-motorbike or something, but he rolled under it to protect the bonnet of the car that he was crashing on.
He's an Energica ambassador, isn't he?
He is, yes.
Yeah, maybe it was an Energica, who knows?
So yeah, I'm yet to see that. I've not had a chance to catch up with Twitter, unfortunately. There was a slight matter of the 3 legs 4 wheels Indy 250 last night, which is a whole other story. Where are we now? McLaren, Jesus. Right, okay, binary team time.
Yes. Also pulling up the tweet that we were all tagged in. Well, I think we've all seen it, haven't we? Let me just pull that up on my phone.
Yeah, Danny Albon.
Yeah, from Cantavius. I can't even read his full name because it doesn't show up on my phone.
Chad Astra.
Yeah, that'll do. Danny Albon, because Ricciardo on lap 53 was lapped by his teammate. And obviously, we gave Albon some stick for being lapped by his teammate. So does Danny Ricciardo deserve the same treatment?
No, because it's Monaco.
There is that caveat because it's a shorter lap. But
I mean,
still getting lapped by his teammate.
Yeah, I mean, Ricciardo said that what he thought he had there with the car, he definitely didn't. He's actually taken a few days off before Baku and trying not to think about what happened this weekend. He sounds to me like he's a little bit broken at the minute.
Well, he admitted it. Did anyone see the pre-race interview that Sky did with Danny Ricciardo?
Don't remember.
Yeah, basically he said there's a very small window that car operates in, and if you step outside that window even a little bit, you lose a lot. It's very unforgiving apparently, and he bumped into Carlos Sainz a few weeks back, and Carlos said, "Hey, how you finding the McLaren? Strange, isn't it?" And Danny said, apparently Danny said, "Oh, thanks for telling me." So, yeah, it's clearly one of those things known between the drivers that McLaren perhaps takes a little bit more adapting than anyone else. But we have said on this podcast before, that shouldn't be an excuse.
Not really, no, because that's, these are some of the best drivers in the world, plus anyone in a Haas.
Nikita Mazepin.
Yeah, I was going for both of them at the minute, and the jury's still out on Tsunoda. But these are some of the best drivers in the world, or certainly some of the richest, and they should be able to get everything that they possibly can out of whatever car they're put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still can't make my mind up whether this is due to the lack of testing at the beginning of the year.
Definitely won't have helped.
Yeah, it just seems odd that we've never. I mean, Ricardo took time to get used to the Renault, and a long time. He really struggled in that Renault to start with.
Oh yeah,
So
the first half of his first season there was a complete write-off.
yeah, so there's you could even say his first season very near, but the see, I think it's more prominent with Perez because Red Bull fucking need him to sort it out quickly. Do you know what I mean? He's the one that's needed more than the other drivers that have moved teams. But I find it interesting that you've got Vettel, Alonso, Ricardo, and Perez all struggling.
Sainz hasn't had much of an issue with the Ferrari, though, has he?
No, he hasn't. We've said quite a lot, haven't we, that he's done the best jobs of the guy that's moved. And to be perfectly honest, I still believe Sainz is better and faster than Charles Leclerc. So in that respect, you could say he isn't performing to his maximum, because when he performs to his maximum, I think Charles is in trouble.
Yeah, possibly. I've just watched Nico Rosberg crash. It's not a crash, is it?
He just falls over and then loses his shoe. It's funny. It's well worth a watch, but yeah, he does just sort of wobble over and then get stuck, and then some people help him, and then he laughs at his shoe.
Yeah. Bloody Nico Rosberg.
The same shoe he was wearing during qualifying, incidentally.
I've got to admit, I've paid very little attention to his shoes.
I noticed them because they were a bit weird.
They weren't beige.
No, they had a stripe.
Oh, racy.
Sporty Rosberg.
That's his new football team. On to Lando. Apparently, he scared his race engineer because he got the black and white flag after 7 laps for cutting the Nouvelle chicane twice. And there were quite a lot of black and white flags handed out. At least no penalties for it this week.
No penalties. I don't think there were anyway.
There were not, I don't think.
No, I don't think I recall any. But I mean, solid performance. Made the best out of the bonus place at the start, and managed to make the car slightly wide enough not to be passed, which is all you need to do.
Yeah, and right at the end as well, I think Perez was on newer tyres and briefly looked like he was catching, but Lando seemed to find a bit more and pulled away again. Yeah,
managed to hang on to the tyres till the end while defending, which is the only way you can get a pass in Monaco.
Yeah, I think Perez might have hit that thing, where a driver will use all their tyres up, get so close, and then it all equals itself out again.
Yeah, by the time you get there, you've run out.
But I mean, the tyres were lasting forever around there. I mean, they said they could do the race on one set of hards if it was legal. If Bottas could have done it on one set of softs, it would have saved a lot of problems.
It would have done.
Yeah.
But you remember when we had the ultra softs? Didn't Hamilton do something ridiculous like 50 laps on ultra softs or something?
Yeah, it was that. It was that wet Monaco. What was it? 2017.
Something like that.
With the pink tyres.
Yeah,
that rings a bell.
Yeah, he went straight from the wets to the ultra softs, and never once seemed to have any problems with them. And yeah, it was some ridiculously huge stint that he did. I can't remember how, because that was one of the Monaco Grand Prix where I had to run off down the hill and do a gig at the bottom of the road. Sadly, not happening this year. Bring back TT. But another McLaren podium. Brilliant.
Yeah, good for McLaren. I mean, the car looks good.
And I really want to see that Gulf livery again.
Yeah, we all do. And Lando's new contract appears to be justified at the moment, doesn't it?
Many years. A many years
non-specified quantity of years.
Yes. He has a contract for some years. Yeah, what I want to know is with the Gulf livery, I've changed our logo to the Gulf livery. Shall we keep that for the rest of the season?
Are Gulf paying us?
No. but it looks cool.
It does look cool.
It does look cool, but I don't know. We don't want to seem like, even though we are McLaren fans, that we side particularly with one team more than any other.
Even though we do.
Yeah,
even though we do.
Yeah,
Ridiculously so.
Lando's adorable.
But you got to look at it from a not objective. Yeah, you got to look at it from an objective point of view. You can't look at it from, well, I'm a fan of this team. That's why I was trying to sort of push the Danny Ricciardo thing, Alex Albon. You can't really be being lapped by your teammate. It's not the done thing, is it? Just got to hope Danny gets it together pretty soon. But Lando, absolutely fantastic, looking every bit the future race winner. And if McLaren put a car together, potentially.
Oh, here he goes again.
Wait for it.
He's coming back quick.
World champion. I'm going to finish his sentence.
Oh, he's actually, I think he's...
Hang on. There was a chirp.
No, I finished after that. Well, I didn't have anything more to say.
Oh, whatever it was that he didn't have
You
to say,
stopped
we
on
didn't
future.
hear it.
I just said potential world champion. That was it.
We didn't
go
get
away.
world champion.
we just got potential, so there was a lot of potential left in that sentence.
I was going to say boyfriend of mine, but I thought I'd go with world champion to finish the sentence off. But I think that the whole podium this weekend was like a glimpse to the future of F1, hasn't it? Because we're going to see Lando on that podium again before this year's out, definitely.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
And he seemed to fucking weaponize a bottle of champagne. Did you notice?
He
It's going on forever.
He does that. He does that every time. Every podium that he's got, he does like the initial spraying and then bangs it on the floor to get a second spray out of it.
He did it too well once and absolutely shattered the bottle all over the podium.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the podium. It was in front of the pit.
Was it the McLaren one that they do with their personal sponsor afterwards?
Yeah, it was. It was in front of the pit in Austria last year.
It wasn't Moe.
Is it?
It was
Shandon?
carbon then, and it's now it's not champagne. It's Ferrari sparkling wine. We've had this debate.
No, the McLaren one.
Oh, the McLaren is Chandon. Yes,
Chandon.
Yeah.
Right then, Ferrari.
Binary result.
If I was Mattia Binotto now, I would be banging on the door of the Nicaraguan embassy saying, please let me in. I'm in danger of death if I return to my home country.
Why Nicaraguan specifically?
Because they let Assange in.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it was Ecuador.
Oh, was it Ecuador?
That's Ecuador, yeah.
Ecuador. What the fuck happened? Yeah, okay, we know he crashed. We've had the talk about was it deliberate or not.
Why wouldn't he be allowed in his home country? Charles Leclerc's from Monaco, not Italy.
Well, no, but I mean, did anyone check the car properly? Did anyone?
Well, presumably not, because there was a broken drive shaft that no one seemed to pick up on.
Yeah. How did they let a car out that had crashed, and how did they miss a broken drive shaft when they're rebuilding it?
Well, the thing is, it was on the left side, and the impact took place on the right side. And everything was fine on the impacted side of the car. That would be the side you'd be expected to check. It was the left side that was broken. And it may have only been a hairline fracture or something that may not have even been visible to, the naked eye when you're pulling it out and rebuilding it. It's purely when you're putting that much pressure back through the drive shaft, it's obviously can't handle it and starts
Bit like
cracking open again.
But it just seems like Ferrari'd themselves out of a damn good chance of a win.
Oh, it is a solid Ferrari effort. This.
But the thing is, if they take a 5-place grid penalty, they don't win anyway.
But at least they're in the race.
They wouldn't have got a 5-place grid penalty for replacing the drive shaft. That was the thing. They'd have got a 5-place grid penalty for replacing the gearbox. There was nothing wrong with the gearbox.
I was reading this afternoon. If they'd replaced the drive shaft, it would have fucked the gearbox as well. They'd have had to replace the gearbox
because there would be a seal from the drive shaft on the gearbox.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So see, the thing is, they didn't have the choice. They had to gamble it to see what would happen because otherwise they don't win the race anyway.
Yeah,
they're not going to have the. I mean, don't get me wrong. Something crazy might happen, like a McLaren might win a race, a Ferrari might win a race. this year, but on pure pace, they won't have the chance to win another race this year.
No, so they had to gamble.
Yeah, they had to. They had to gamble, and essentially that's why they had to get Charles to crash and get pole as well. Same reasons.
But no, I think Ferrari quite buoyant, despite the fact, obviously, Leclerc, not being able to start the race. Again, Nico Rosberg talking sense before the race. Yes, it's heartbreaking. It's really disappointing for him, but let's not forget, it was his fault.
It was.
He's the reason he's not starting the race.
Still never finished a race in Monaco.
No, he hasn't.
So much for the Michael Schumacher idea of home advantage, giving you that extra 10th.
I think he just tries a bit too hard in Monaco, doesn't he? I think every incident he's had, it's been fairly...
Well, 2 years ago, he was definitely trying too hard because, how many times did he prang it?
Quite a few. I think the year before that, I think he cooked his brakes. And then, this one, I think he's just, again, overdone it.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to put on a show for the locals, even though the locals weren't there.
No, there was someone who had a banner on a balcony, probably one of his mates.
Oh, the L'Eclair.
Leclerc, yeah, it's like the pastry.
Oh, the forger from Hello Hello.
Yeah.
But Carlos Sainz, second place in a Ferrari.
Fantastic. Great performance.
Amazing result for him. Out of all the team changes and rookies, he's definitely the one that's got to terms with the car. And making Ferrari look good. Which is something that...
they needed some help with that on Sunday, really, didn't they?
Yeah, which is something Ferrari haven't been able to do for a couple of years. Legally.
Ferrari... was this their first podium since, middle of 2019?
No, they had a few last year.
Leclerc
popped up with a few. Vettel had the one in Turkey.
Of course, yeah, they did. Yeah, sorry, Leclerc did too early, didn't he? Too early on, and then Vettel did one in Turkey.
Did Vettel? Yeah, he overtook Leclerc, didn't he?
Leclerc, I think, tried to overtake someone else and got it wrong, and then Vettel just cruised past from nowhere. It was glorious.
Yeah, I think he was trying to overtake Perez in second.
I think so, yeah, and then I think Leclerc ended up completely not on the podium.
Yeah.
It's my kind of podium.
One of these days, you will admit that this has all been an act.
We must be approaching a face turn again soon, but not today.
And that leaves Red Bull. Max inherited pole and did what pole sitters are meant to do in Monaco. Won.
Yep. Yeah, stayed ahead, did the job, got round without incident, did very well. But also worth pointing out that Red Bull got the strategy absolutely perfect by putting Perez out in front of Verstappen for a bit, and then making sure that Perez wasn't in his way. And that meant that Perez overcut quite a few drivers and ended up, from 8th, I think he overtook Hamilton, Gasly, and Vettel, stick himself 4th. Late on, had a bit of a charge at Norris, as we explained earlier in the McLaren bit. Couldn't quite make it work because Monaco. But, on any other circuit, that would have been a really good battle for that final podium finish. And Red Bull did the best job this weekend, and there's no getting away from that. And for the first time since 2018, is it, or 2019, a non-Mercedes driver leads the Drivers' Championship.
That's mad.
Yeah, it's the first time that Max Verstappen's been leading the championship, and Red Bull are ahead in the constructors as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time Max Verstappen has led any championship.
Jesus.
In his career.
I find that an amazing start.
I tell you what, the top 4 this weekend, you could throw a dart at names on a board of the top 4 and be happy with driver of the day for any of them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, did Vettel win official driver of the day?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually extend that to top 5.
Top 5, sorry, yeah. Yeah, I forgot I had him in 4th for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just great drives all around. You know, they were the guys that actually did the making up of the places, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Verstappen didn't do anything wrong. Sainz did great to just sort of, you know, he was already in a podium spot, but inheriting that second place and making sure he kept, you know, Lando at bay. And, you know, as I say,
He'll say it quickly in a
one
second.
point looked like he was catching Verstappen, but that fizzled out quite quickly.
Yeah, it just worked for him. I mean, yeah, driver of the day. I think it's for me it was a five-way split.
I was quite happy with Vettel winning that.
Yeah, I think so.
I
Made
was
strategy
happy as well,
work.
yeah.
Rockstars and wankers. Rockstars, all the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, go with that.
Any other suggestions?
I'm a wanker for not putting money on Lando to get a podium like I have every other race this year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
That's fair.
If the cap fits, it probably says Kumoa on it. Anything else in the Rockstar category?
I'm struggling for other rock stars.
We've got
Not really, I don't think. No.
Yeah, we've got 5 drivers on there. Right, wankers. TV director.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know, I half feel that the problem the TV director had was just finding something interesting.
At one
But he
point,
had something interesting
And cut away from it?
then cut away from it.
I didn't know. So I'm sure there were problems because I saw everybody else having problems with it. But
Well, Vettel was overtaking Gasly, or at least they were side by side when Vettel came out of the pit. So we didn't know who got ahead into the Massenet before Casino.
Yeah.
yeah.
At the top of the hill, didn't know who was ahead. So should we cut to see who's ahead, or should we watch a replay of Lance Stroll going over the curb again?
Or, to quote Sean, fuck off, you stupid director. We don't want to see Stroll being average. I think were your
I do
exact
believe,
words.
yeah, we don't need to see Stroll being average. I definitely did say that.
yeah, but that means that Stroll would never get any TV time. Be fair.
Well, that he needs to be better. I mean, if for some reason at one point something was happening and then they cut away to Mazepin exiting his pit box. And I appreciate we didn't see a lot of Mazepin in the race, but that was not, I'm sure, an interesting bit.
Yeah, and they also did cut away from Kimi Raikkonen's stopping at Raskas to look at, I don't know, 6th place lining up on the grid.
If we're not showing average as well, that demotes Valtteri Bottas to I don't know, urban legend.
Do we call the errant wheel nut a wanker?
Definitely, I would say.
I know, because that was the only interesting thing that happened through the whole race.
Pretty much, yeah.
Whoever was meant to be checking Leclerc's drive shaft.
I'm going fucking
Lewis Hamilton.
Wheel nut rockstar.
Wheel nut rockstar.
Yeah.
I'm going Lewis Hamilton wanker.
He got the fastest lap.
Don't care, he's a wanker.
He was whinging like a Grosjean on Downers.
Yeah.
He was back to crybaby Lewis.
Yeah, I'm glad we've took this stance on Lewis Hamilton this week, because we so often get called Lewis Hamilton fanboys. It'll be nice to be like horrible Lewis Hamilton haters again.
Well, it's one or the other for me, apparently. Both at the same time sometimes.
Yeah, I think we've all been called it. We've all been called both in the same tweet.
Yeah, it's impossible apparently to have a neutral opinion of Lewis Hamilton. It's like Marmite.
Yeah, what do you think of Lewis Hamilton? He exists. No, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Lewis Hamilton? He's all right. He's a really good driver, is he? But he's not my favourite driver. You're a dirty racist that hates him.
He's potentially the greatest driver of all time. But
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
weekend, he was a bit of a prick.
Yeah, I mean, he goes from like hero to Jean Lacey in one move.
Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah, no, it was not cool to say the things he said and to have the attitude that he had. The correct attitude to have was when was it Ricciardo when he drove for Renault at Russia? He was told he had a penalty and he was just like, okay, I'll drive faster.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you need. You know,
Or the kit me for what? For
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
For what?
Yeah. I mean, the Mercedes is a fast enough car to maybe have stuck it down the inside at the chicane. Is he really that bothered by finishing 7th with the fastest lap? If that's his worst race of the season, I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, stop. If you're going to be the best, do the best you can all the time, rather than switch it on and off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I compared him to Prost before, doing exactly what he needs to do, but that was less than what he needed to do.
He was doing everything except what he needed to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe changing Bottas's wheel for him.
Yeah.
Right, we've got Monaco out of the way. We lived. We survived it.
Good.
We're
we
through
survived it. Christ, I hope Baku's a good race.
Baku in a fortnight. Now, Mercedes are probably going to put in an official protest about the dodgy wings, or not dodgy wings, but loophole finding wings.
Yeah,
Again.
They're preparing an official protest depending on the bendiness of the wings, because obviously that's a long straight at Baku.
Yeah, now I just want to make this clear. This is the bendiness and the flexibility of the rear wings, not the front wings.
Because Mercedes have very flexible front wings.
Yeah, and all teams will have flexible front wings because that's the way that front wings work with those really thin, 5 really thin planes on them. That's what they're designed to do, and that's what's in the law. I'm just saying this because there was a massive kickoff on Twitter this week all resulting from a tweet that Matt Steele tagged us in from October 2019 from the US Grand Prix, where you could see the Mercedes front wing flexing, under braking, and on the straight. As in,
I can't believe
how it's meant to work.
Even in 2019, they were cheating this year.
It is. Not only are they flexing in physics, they are flexing time.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, once you get those wings up to 88 miles an hour...
Yeah. Who knows where they're going to go?
The right amount of Adrian Newey's shiny head.
So, the situation is, as Ted Kravitz explained, without the use of stationery or confectionery this weekend, very, very disappointing, B-, must try harder, is that on the straight, the plane of the rear wing does flex backwards, drops down a little, and narrows the wing angle, even when it's not under DRS. Just due to wind resistance.
Due to the load, basically, that's being put on the car by, as you say, the air resistance.
Yeah. The tests are made when the car is static, with an equivalent load put across the wing of physical weights, rather than a fuck ton of wind. And those wings, Ferrari have got them as well. And I think 1 or 2 other teams?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Those all passed the load flexing tests. So, according to the letter of the law, and as we know, that counts for bugger all in F1, they are legal. They pass the rules. So they're rewriting the rules from the end of June.
Yeah, as is how they do these things.
Yeah, and everyone's got, a week to comply or a month to comply?
I think you've normally got so many events, I think, isn't it? You've normally got so many events to comply.
But
are they actually doing that? Are they? Don't they have to protest first and then the protest
usually
have to be upheld?
Then a counter protest.
There's usually a protest. The protest is upheld, and then they go to an arbitration court, and then it's decided what's going to happen. So it's probably nothing until, I wouldn't think anything's going to happen until mid-season break.
Yeah, I would imagine as well. If it is legal and has passed all the tests, then they won't outlaw it now. They will change the rule for the end of the season to make it illegal from next season. But if it's
the DAS move,
if it's compliant now, then they've done nothing wrong.
But apparently Mercedes are going to protest them, even though...
It's what they do, though, isn't it? Mercedes have something that Red Bull think, damn, I wish I thought of that first, so I'm going to ruin it for everyone. And then next thing, Mercedes find something about the Red Bull car that they wish they'd thought of first. And
It's another bit of team gamesmanship.
It is.
And it just means we get to see Christian Horner being smug on TV going, we got there first.
Yes. Not that we ever see Christian Horner smug on TV.
No, not in the slightest. You guys,
He's the worst kind of smug, though, isn't he? When
He
he's
very,
smug?
very punchable smug.
punchable smug.
Wasn't like the character in The Owl and the Pussycat.
Possible.
So, yeah, God knows what we'll see in Baku, apart from lots of complaining.
Probably from Lewis Hamilton again. No, I'm joking. Like, I think that, as I say, I think it was good for Formula One for the championship, the result, but the race itself, as in like terms of racing, was very bad because we all know from the viewing figures that the casual viewer watches 2 races per year, and that's their home race, the race that happens in their own country or near their own country, and the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And Monaco was enough to send me to sleep.
Although Serena Williams did a piss-poor job waving the flag. As I saw,
I mean, she must be pretty good at waving things around, you know,
You
because
would
she hits
think.
balls with rackets at
Yeah.
some pace.
yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet saying, you know, you have made your entire career and living and a staggeringly huge amount of money from having strong wrists.
Can we discuss the interview?
What, the Serena Williams being included?
Well, no, Serena Williams being interviewed before Max Verstappen in the middle of the podium interviews.
I missed that.
I mean, she was there with Aston Martin, so maybe Lawrence Stroll was holding himself hostage until...
That was crackers, mate. It was.
I don't think
ridiculous.
it was unnecessary, wasn't it? I think, but yeah.
I zoned out at that point. I completely
I think, yeah.
ignored that.
Yeah, it was literally just after they got out of the cars.
I may have been faffing.
No, it was.
No, it was Lando Norris first, which Carlos Sainz interrupted.
Yes.
And then,
Carlos.
as David Coulthard was talking to Carlos Sainz, he just interjected and brought Serena Williams in.
I completely...
Don't say it, baby.
That's a horrible choice of words. Can we please have some Jacques Villeneuve for that?
Oh, double Jack show!
It's not me. It's not me.
But I completely missed that. I remember Sainz interrupting Lando, and completely
not
missed
in trouble.
Serena.
Totally.
I mean, I know that the whole thing about Monaco is let's interview as many celebrities as possible and see if any of them knows anything about Formula One. But it's usually before the race.
Yeah, but no grid walk yet, is there? Because, you know, still some COVID worries.
Yeah. So just bin off the celebrities, and I thought F1 weren't going to have any more flag wavers after the Great Canadian 2-lap early.
Yeah,
thing.
I reckon she probably had a minder who was keeping count this time. I reckon
I
they'll
mean,
have learnt from that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Harlow?
Winnie Harlow.
She took a lot of flack for that, but it wasn't her fault. She got handed the flag and told to wave it.
Yeah, it's not her job to keep count of the laps.
Yeah.
It was Brazil, wasn't it? Wasn't that a Brazilian
Yeah,
Grand
I think
Prix?
it was Canada.
It was Canada because it was Brazil where
Was it?
Pele forgot to wave the flag because he was too
Ah.
busy talking to somebody next to him on the podium. Probably trying to sell him tinfoil or Viagra.
Or both.
Both.
Yeah, there is two products that he advertises mainly. So yeah, I thought they'd ditched the celebrity flag wavers, but it appears to be a thing again. At least you can say whoever was in charge of giving Serena Williams the flag did it on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the bare minimum of expectation on that person.
Congratulations, you did your job.
You did a not awful.
Does that guy get the Giovinazzi Participation Award?
No,
No,
because
that
then,
goes to Serena Williams.
he probably stuck her in for an interview ahead of Max Verstappen. Someone did a great a great photo actually of Serena Williams holding the Wimbledon trophy, and Max Verstappen stood in front of her with a microphone.
Right, where do we go? Where do we go to next? Yeah, the sad news today that Max Mosley, the former president of the FIA, died today, aged 81. A divisive figure, some may say, with his running of motorsport and F1, because he was the second most powerful person in F1 behind Bernie at one point. Coincidentally, when Bernie was the second most powerful person in the FIA behind him. Not a cartel.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a lot of good work when it came to safety, certainly, on track and actually with road cars as well. And as somebody pointed out, maintained an active social life well into his 70s.
Yeah, it was never a dull moment, was it?
No.
Didn't he bring in the FIA's road safety campaign, which was all over Formula One right up until Bernie left, I believe?
It was. Yeah, that was all his initiative.
It still blew my fucking mind when I found out who his dad was. That like that. It was like 1997 or something. When him and like Bernie were like really prevalent on the grid all the time. I found out who his dad was, and I couldn't wrap my head around it.
I mean, he did start off as a sort of gentleman driver. And then everywhere I've seen, he decided he wasn't fast enough, and he was the M in March Engineering. Which, I mean, they were massively successful in the 70s, not just for themselves, but all the cars that they made for other teams. I think James Hunt's first race-winning car is Hesketh in the non-championship races. That was just a rebadged March. And, what he's done has furthered the careers of a hell of a lot of F1 drivers. Like I say, away from the circuit, I just don't want to get into.
Yeah, but let's be perfectly honest. If he's into that sort of thing, he's into that sort of thing.
Suing people, that's why I'm not getting into anything. He's still got family.
No,
can't libel the dead.
Saying, it's not like he was into anything illegal or like horrible.
No, but there's still lawsuits pending, and he's got family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one news outlet said nobody in his family knew about the double life that he led. Which I think is a fair assumption.
Are you sure it was double life?
I would just say, just look at his dad again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you on the podcast who his dad is. Everyone else can Google that.
Yeah. Oswald, which is his first name.
And his dad had the most ridiculous middle name ever.
I reckon if you Google Max Mosley's dad, that's all you'll need.
Yeah, I mean, his middle name was Arnold. It's not quite Ernie and it's not quite Arnold. Arnold.
Interesting. I wonder why that one's not caught on.
All I can say about Max Mosley is we will probably never see his like in the paddock again. How about that?
Yes.
That's fair to say.
And his dad had terrible taste in flags.
That's also fair to say.
Yes.
There was that party, wasn't there, where he got some of his dad's memorabilia out for some reason, but we won't talk about that.
There was.
Don't say it, baby.
Moving swiftly on. I think that's about it for the news this week, isn't it? Or did we have anything more?
I think we talked about everything else during the countdown.
It's the Indy 500 this weekend on Sunday. Little bit of former F1 interest and Max Chilton taking part.
Yes.
We've got Montoya, Takuma Sato,
Marcus Ericsson,
Alexander Rossi, and like I said, Max Chilton in there as well. No
Romain Grosjean though, because he's not doing ovals.
No, he's sensible like that. I know, Chris, you're not a fan, but I actually enjoy the Indy just for the strategy and the tactics, because it's 200 laps and you spend about 175 of them getting yourself into the right position. You getting yourself into the right position for your last pit stop, and it's only really a 25-lap race. It's one of these where it's mostly about survival. Then you start going quick at the end.
Yeah, my interest in Indy lived and died with Fernando Alonso, I'm afraid.
So it mainly died a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I would be very interested to see what Juan Pablo Montoya can
do at his age
in a McLaren, incidentally.
Yeah, because Montoya is back in an extra car for the Team Spam, as we christened them, Schmidt, Peterson, Arrow, McLaren. I know that's not the order it goes in, but Spam is better.
It should be.
In the orange and black camo car, it looks like somebody's fried East 17.
It's a slightly niche reference.
But yeah, we'll be watching it. I think it starts 5:45 UK time on Sunday, and there'll be chat going on the Discord, so we'll be about, and there'll be a couple of IndyCar experts joining us on the chat, so any questions, somebody will be able to get an answer.
It's a shame we don't do a play-out track on this podcast, isn't it, like we did on the old Patreon ones?
Otherwise, I'd have played an East 17 song.
Yeah, House of Love I was going to suggest.
Google it. It's terrible. Right, is it shunting time?
Might as well.
Must be.
Yeah, let's face it, we're an hour and 25 in, plus 2 Jacques.
Only 2.
3 I've counted so far.
None of them me. Face.
One of them was you. That last one was you.
What did I say?
Something between 8 and 10. Yes.
Oh, right. That doesn't feel Jacques-able.
You know how I wanted that Stream Deck to punch stuff in live? It'd have come in really fucking useful tonight.
Yeah, it would actually. I'd enjoy hearing live Jacques.
But you'd have to press it before I said it.
That's the thing,
you'd
you've got
need
to
be
know
a
it's
little
coming.
bit psychic. Yeah.
Are you suggesting you expect the worst of us in advance?
Mainly Lee.
Does Jacques Villeneuve
you-
still have a booking agent when it comes to music? Because I feel like we should try and book him for a gig somewhere when...
For what, Bushies when it reopens?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 1997, Formula One world champion, Jacques Villeneuve.
I wonder how much he charged just to do that one song.
Oh, I don't know. Let's find out.
If anyone else,
Patrons, if you want to see this happen,
if anyone else got Jacques' booking details, please let us know.
hashtag Jacques Villeneuve Isle of Man 2022. It's a really catchy hashtag.
You all shunted up and ready to go then, Lee?
Yes, this one was sent in by Matt Splats.
Oh.
Not Spax, Splats.
Matt Splats.
Matt Splat.
Yeah. I was born
Yay.
in 1921.
Oh, back in the
100
day.
years. So we would expect some kind of anniversary with
You
this.
would.
But a teenager.
Yeah, I was about to say we would also expect some joke about my age, and we were disappointed.
Baked.
I volunteered for the Finnish Air Force in 1939, but was commissioned in the American Tank Corps.
Well, that's a bit of a difference.
That's, yeah. American tanks,
Christopher
Finnish
Lee.
planes.
Ooh.
After World War II, I drove Coopers in Formula 3, 2 and F1.
Probably not Christopher Lee.
4, I was
hang
a
on, don't we need a guess?
vampire.
We need a guess after 3, don't we?
Yeah, the next clue wasn't I was a vampire.
Okay, so it's not Christopher Lee.
Disappointingly.
Well, the thing is, everyone drove Coopers. It was like the only make of car back
who
then.
is qualifying for the Finnish Air Force and the American tanks?
Well, the Finnish service of Christopher Lee, that's why I thought it was him at first. He volunteered to fight for Finland because they didn't actually have their own military at that point. Well, it wasn't big enough. So they were taking in people from other countries that wanted
Okay.
to defend Finland.
So that does not narrow it down on nationality.
Yeah, it probably does. If they were drafted into the American Tank Corps, then they'd have been American.
I
So
like the idea that it wasn't him trying to draft himself in, that Christopher Lee, with Finland not having an army, just said, no, I'll defend Iceland and went there, or Finland and went there himself.
With a very large sword, probably.
How
And a
old
cape.
would Dan Gurney have been? Because he invented gurney flaps that are on planes. So obviously knew some flying shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, that might not be a bad shout.
Yeah. He was definitely alive in 1966, because we've seen the film.
He died quite recently. He died
Oh.
within the last few years.
Yes, we did. I remember we've done a tribute show to him.
First
A
person to
tribute-
spray champagne.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good shout.
I thought that was Jackie Stewart.
No.
Every day's a school day.
Ah. And I think first
Uh,
person to wear a closed crash helmet. Pioneer.
A coward.
Jackie Stewart was the first
Number 4.
person to look like a shortbread tin on the podium.
Are you going with Mr. Flaps?
Why not?
Yeah,
Gurney.
we've got splats and flaps. Oh, that's a point. It's the new episode of My Dad Wrote a Porno tonight.
There is. Focus.
4. Fangio scored his maiden victory in my Formula One debut when I crashed with 8 other cars.
Is it you doing Indy 500 iRacing?
I took 9. I took 9 cars out, not
All right,
8.
so someone better than you.
So, okay, somebody marginally less shit.
It depends which way you look at it, to be honest.
So this is somebody who made their debut.
Paul's the only one that entered an iRacing race and got a spare.
Yeah, so somebody who made their debut.
Right at the start.
Yeah. I entered the following day's race.
1952?
Yeah, I entered the following day's race and got taken out on lap 2.
Whoops.
Karma.
No, fuming.
Are you good for the next clue?
I think we are.
My Cooper was the first rear-engined car to start a championship race. He's given me 2 5s.
So does that mean you've got
That equals
11, or
10.
are you missing like a 6?
Yeah, there's like an 11, so I suppose 10 could be a spaffer. Oh no, he's given me a spaffer as well.
This is
Wow.
very generous
Okay.
clue writing.
We'll have both. We'll have both 5s then.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. 5A. I have 2 F1 podiums to my name, and we're with a second place in Zandvoort in 1958 and a third place at Presca. Is that a place?
It is now.
Pescara, yeah. The following year, no idea what that is.
Sounds Italian.
Pescara.
Pescara.
It sounds
it's on the
Italian.
Italian coast. It's on the
Is it?
Adriatic coast, I believe.
I had no idea. Number 6. I came first in my class at Le Mans in 1953, finishing 6th overall. Don't jump at me with all your guesses at once.
I won't. I don't think it's Dan Gurney.
No, I don't think Dan Gurney. I think has more podium than that.
Kevin Spacey.
He's got less podiums.
I
Which-
photoshopped a picture of Kevin Spacey and put it onto the helmet part of my new tattoo and sent it to my friend saying, it's
You want to be
Kevin
careful
Spacey now.
putting Kevin Spacey on your helmet parts.
No, it's okay. It was in NME. He's apparently he's got a new acting role, and the new way of saying what was going on with Kevin Spacey is his triumphant acting return after his sexual assault allegations.
That seems a strange way of introing it.
Feels mild.
Oh, wait, is Kevin Spacey actually making some kind of comeback and I've just picked that out of nowhere on a day that he's announced his return? Or
Yeah.
He's
Wow,
announced his
okay.
return. Jaime El Gashwari is announcing his return. Everyone's making a comeback. Some more welcome than others.
I mean, that's like saying Fred West returned to building things up rather than digging holes.
Well, he's back, isn't he? Because he's got
he's in the
suddenly,
news.
he's
he
back.
is in the news at the moment. Yes, because he may have plastered somebody in a wall in a house he was working in.
But I don't think he's a
Yeah,
total
oh.
shunt.
He might
But
be.
didn't they dig up like the Fred West Cafe as well?
Yeah.
I see. I just had this thing of all these policemen sat in the cafe.
Fred
drinking
West used to tell
coffee
people
going,
that he did the Isle of Man TT races, so all of this could be lies that Fred West told.
Wow. But I just imagined all these police in the Fred West Cafe going, "Oh, Leeds are dead, lads. Where do we look next?"
We need a guest, don't we?
Not Fred West or Kevin Spacey.
And it's sounding less and less like Christopher Lee with every.
How old would Mike Hawthorne have been when he died? Because he was big in the Le Mans. No, he'd have won more races anyway, wouldn't he? Because he was
Also
the champion.
British,
Ignore me.
so
Ignore.
may not have been drafted into the American time.
Yeah,
Corps.
he'd have had more than like a couple of scrappy podiums, though, wouldn't he? He'd have had multiple race wins.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
only American successful driver I can think in F1 was Phil Hill, and it definitely wouldn't be him because he was a world champion.
Yeah, slightly needs to be someone less successful.
Yeah. That's right, Henry Ford Jr. Oh no, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't have been driving a Cooper. That's the thing.
I don't know. Don't know who it is.
The American tank car and the ultimate British racing cars. I think should we skip this guess and just
we might have
move
to.
on?
Yeah, skip it.
I briefly led the 1954 Spanish Grand Prix before I spun off in my privately entered Maserati.
Still as clear as mud.
Yeah.
Number 8. I came second in the 1959. Ooh, hang on a second. I'm going 1959, and maybe they put, because that's 19597. That's a date I don't think is real.
In the future.
So I'm thinking that's 1959, and somebody's hit a 7 by accident. 12 hours of Sebring partnering Sir Sterling Moss.
Okay.
So you can eliminate Sir Sterling Moss.
Thank you so much.
Your mission, should
Number
you choose
9.
to accept it.
I've been extremely vocal in the promotion of the roll bar on European racing cars. The safety feature required in America. The safety feature required in America.
I've got now.
I feel like I'm getting less the more we go into this.
Number 10. My mother was the first American woman to compete in an international Grand Prix event.
I mean, this one's born in 1921 and their mum's doing a Grand Prix.
That's impressive.
This is wild.
Hope it wasn't one of Max Mosley's parties.
I mean, yeah, she may have been the first ever grid girl or something. Yep. Daringly showing an ankle.
Oof.
Careful now.
You got a spaffer?
I died in 1969 when I decided to dig deep for what? Sorry, that was just, he said something else at the end, which was a message to me. The spaffer is, I died in 1960 when I feel he was going to write something else at the end there, and didn't.
I died in 1960 when I
Yeah.
Okay.
died. I
Yeah,
assume.
presumably so. That's why you've been cut off mid-sentence.
Yeah. When I stopped breathing and my brain stopped working.
I've got now.
I have nothing.
I have got absolutely nothing.
Same here. Not a thing.
Right.
Phil Hill wasn't champion until 1961, so it definitely isn't him. American drivers pre-Phil Hill, I don't think I can name any. I'm not bad with the old F1, but from times when I've been alive and watched it...
I have no idea who this person is.
Eddie Cheever
I've-
Senior.
I've heard of Eddie Cheever, so therefore, if I saw Eddie Cheever Senior, I would have guessed who that is. But this is a name I have never seen before.
Well, we've been beaten, so
We
who
have.
are you?
I am Harry Shell.
Did he invent petrol?
No, it's spelled differently.
Ah,
Congratulations, Max. You beat us totally.
that was yeah.
Yeah, that was tricky.
That was an immensely tough one.
But you needed Sean on Phone a Friend there, really.
I
didn't
think
you?
so.
we did,
yeah.
yeah. I'll tell you what, we've been on a good streak lately, and that's really brought us back down to earth with a bump. How do you, if you think you can continue our losing streak, how do you send in a total shunt?
You can send me a DM on not Facebook. I don't want you to add me on Facebook because that would be weird. weird. I would like you to add me on Twitter or Instagram, and you can find me at A Total Shunt.
And if you want to get one for the reserve list for when Lee's been kidnapped by UFOs and he's being rectally probed, send it to 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. That's numbers 3 and 4 in there.
I'll have you know I'm big on UFO Twitter now. I'm big on UFO YouTube. The video was part of last night now has 1,600 views.
Very good, very good. Just want to point out as well, you know the F1 fantasy game.
We do, but does Chris have a working microphone?
Yeah, of course I do. You know the actual official F1 fantasy game?
Which is,
I know of it,
which
yes.
is terrible.
It's not very good, but I've joined it this year, and I haven't changed my team at all until this weekend. There is a team on there called 3 Legs and 4 Wheels, and it is a Manx person called Brian.
Brian,
Wow.
Brian, if you're listening, either thank you for the tribute or stop ripping us off.
Yeah.
Our lawyers would be in touch if we had any.
Yeah, I'll find the link. I'll send it to you on our private chat thread.
Please do. I'm intrigued to know who Brian is.
Not that it needs to be sent on a private chat thread. I've just given his team name out on the podcast, so anyone can search that and find him.
Of course, you can search for us at 3legs4wheels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you want to help us out on the Patreon side of things, you get the show early, and we're going to go back to recording extra Patreon shows fairly soon with play-out tracks. You can go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels and donate anything from £1, €1, or $1 upwards. And if you want to get us on Twitter individually, we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
and at Pablo100. That's about it for this week, really, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll be back next week with whatever news is going on, and I guess we'll be previewing Baku.
I guess so.
Yeah,
Yay.
might try and get a guest sorted out for next week, if we can.
Ooh.
I love Baku. It's a good race.
Baku is usually lively.
The first one, was rubbish?
When it was the European
Yeah.
Grand Prix, that's where they went wrong.
Yeah, we've never had a bad Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but we've had a boring European Grand Prix there. That was the Lewis were not allowed to tell you what button does what.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Well, that was rubbish anyway, that whole sort of like, no driver management.
That lasted precisely one race. And then they tried
2,
to,
wasn't it, I think?
and then they tried to replace it with, we'll put a waste bin in the car so you can put your tear-offs in there. I'm pretty sure that came straight after.
We did get that fucking great message of, how's the weather then? The weather is fine, Lewis.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
We'll have that, and maybe some more if we can think of anything this time next week. All right, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.